Here, there is a pervasive lack of trust among people with disabilities in how their welfare claims are assessed, according to the Commons Work and Pensions Committee, which says reports by private contractors are riddled with errors. It also says claimants don't trust assessors to record evidence of their conditions accurately. The government insists the system works well for the majority of claimants. Here's our disability correspondent, Nikki Fox.
Anastasia is having a good day. But it's not always like this. Most days, she's in constant pain. The 24-year-old has multiple sclerosis. She used to work full-time, but now she struggles to leave the house. On the days she can get out, Anastasia totally relies on her car. She applied for a disability benefit and was assessed at home by a healthcare professional from a private company. Anastasia told her assessor she could only walk 20 metres, but when the report came back, it said she could walk further.
She didn't give me a physical assessment. I was sat down the entire time. I was very, very cross about that.
As a result, Anastasia lost her higher rate mobility benefit, which meant she lost her car. Although she successfully appealed that decision, her experience is far from a one-off. Today's report identifies a culture of mistrust around the whole process. It says the government's low bar for what is considered acceptable leaves room for assessment reports to be riddled with obvious errors and omissions. It also says assessors risk being viewed as, at best, lacking in competence and at worst, actively deceitful.
Nurses are expected to assess 4 or 5 clients a day.
But this former nurse, who worked as an assessor for a few weeks before quitting, has today anonymously told the BBC she was disgusted with the system.
I had a lady come to my service dropped off. In my mind, in my experience of over 20 years working with people with learning disabilities, this lady had learning disabilities. When I made my report on my observations, it was sent back and the auditor made me change it and said there was no evidence that she had learning disabilities at all.
We've asked the government to record all these key assessments, interviews. The government said, oh, it's going to put this idea out to consultation. We pointed out to the minister when she was before the committee that literally everybody has agreed, except the government, that they shouldn't do this. So this consultation clearly is going to be the government talking to itself.
The government says it's exploring options to promote greater transparency and trust, and that assessments work well for the majority of claimants who say they are happy with their overall experience. But with current contracts up for review and targets being consistently missed, it's uncertain who will carry out these assessments in the future. Nikki Fox, BBC News.
The time is 18 minutes past 1, our top story this lunchtime. In a major speech, the Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson says Brexit is an opportunity for Britain and not something to be feared. Coming up on the programme,